I've suffered depression myself and had a loving family, access to medical professionals. I had probably a bit of a personal hang up about going back to see professionals when I had depression in my 20s, which I think maybe had quite a lot to do with the loss of my own identity on many levels, having come from a different country, having come from a country particularly like South Africa, where the system of apartheid had been in place, and I had felt very estranged from my country. I'd not returned to the place of my birth from the age of 4 until the age of 50. So when I was a 16-year-old grappling with who am I, what is this world, and I was, a fairly sort of slightly wild and rule-breaking kind of person, and I just wasn't getting what I needed. And I don't think I had developed any vocabulary to talk about my emotions, let alone identify them. So I think that was a skill I just had no idea with. So I had spiralled into massive suicidal depressions when I was young, and then had access to medical support, which had helped me. And then, the second time in my life when that happened to me, I was resistant about seeking medical help, particularly because drugs I'd taken in the past had been really horrible.
Well, in my family, I have a brother and a sister, but my parents' marriage didn't survive. 1, because they weren't compatible, and 2, because they didn't have any support. I think that played a large part in the failure of that marriage. So after 27 years of marriage, my parents divorced. And for me, it was an absolute, it was just a terrible time in my life, and ended up actually starting to just live a double life. It started with just, meeting people and doing things that my family knew nothing about. And long story short, I ended up with a really serious drug addiction.
I didn't know where or whom I could turn to, because I didn't have family. Back then, Australia Melbourne was small and quiet, and I didn't really have, I started school, but I didn't really sort of make many friends because it was difficult. I was a WOG, I didn't have the language. So every little thing added up into a state of depression for me. So I remember this one time I was sitting at the table with my mum, and I was telling her how sad I was and how depressed I was, and on the table there was a bottle of Cointreau. I was sitting there and I started sipping it, and before I knew it, I ended up being drunk.
I've done drugs before. I drank alcohol just to escape from my sadness, I guess you would say. I don't know, I didn't feel like waking up is a good thing in the morning. When the sun is shining, you feel like you want to wake up. But I didn't feel like I want to wake up. I felt like just staying in bed, just like not do anything, I feel like if I do something, I just make it even worse, not just for myself, but for the people around me.
They were childhood friends from years ago, and we had never lived in the same place for this entire time. And so I thought that moving here and being with them, I'd automatically feel home and supported. But they had their own routines going, they had their own life, they had their own friends. And so I was coming in as an outsider into all of this.
You don't feel connected to a place after 6 months or 9 months or even a couple of years. It takes longer than that. You need to put down roots, and roots take time to grow.
For me, when you try to fit into something too much, you kind of lose yourself. You don't know who you are. And for me to come away from Brisbane to here, leave all my friends behind and everything behind and just move to a different place with a lot of expectations from other people and not being able to receive the same, like as I said, I came with expectations and I didn't receive a tiny bit of it.